Chapman Steve, and I'm going to be talking about a church. And I have a patient in here who is about ready to leave. Was involved in a very bad car accident, and the good news is it's getting back to be normal. But something's happened to this one patient. But he's a person of faith, and the family are of faith, but they're from Albania, and we've had some long talks. And one of the talks that we had fairly recently was about a church in Albania. There was a miracle. There was a mystery, and maybe some of you have heard about it, but it is an interesting story what happened, and the church's name is St. Anthony, and I think in Lak in Albania, and it's located on top of a mountain, and it's a long way to get up there, and there are pilgrimages all the time. But to give you a little bit of history of Albania, and I think and if I have them, I'm just kind of generalizing everybody. But in the 1960s, late 1960s, Albania declared itself atheism. I mean, there was an atheist country. In other words, it got rid of all religions. So nothing was allowed to be in there. And this one church, I think it was in 1987, somewhere on that date, there were orders by the government to send soldiers to the church to start tearing it down. And one of the things was the church was kind of falling apart, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it. It was rebuilt. But anyway, what happened is the soldiers were sent. There were 32 sent initially. And their orders were to tear down the walls, and then there were going to be more soldiers coming in to tear the church down. Now you have to understand, in Albania, religion was not allowed. And it was Muslims. There was all. I mean, it's a country of different faiths, but mostly Muslim. But during that time, until the 1990s, from 1960 to the 1990s, religion was not allowed. And so in 1983, I think the date was that they were going to tear this church down. Initially, they were going to tear the wall down and then tear the rest of it down. People were, this church has been around. I think it was initially built in the 1300s, so just part of the real history of Albania. And these people were just so dedicated, to the church and whatever. But here's the government, who were atheists, to tear down the church. Well, this is where the mystery comes in, and this is where you could call it a miracle, whatever happened. But 32 soldiers were sent up initially to tear down the wall, and something mysteriously happened. Something totally unexplained. They didn't know. All 32 at the same time became paralyzed. From what I understand, from the mid of the body down to the legs, they were paralyzed. They could not walk. They couldn't do anything. And all 32 at all the same time became paralyzed. To continue the story, other soldiers were sent, and mysterious illnesses started to occur. And, people were sent to military hospitals, around the country. Even some went to Austria, and they couldn't figure it out, everybody. They were unable to figure what the cause was, what was going on. They were paralyzed. And the government was trying to make some explanations for it, but they really couldn't, because it was such a dramatic, it just happened, and word got around. So in the 1990s, religion was restored into the country, and Muslim is the main religion in Albania, but also Catholics. And St. Anthony is one of the churches there, but I said it's been there and they're pilgrims. And what's stunning about it, once it was put back, religion was allowed to be back in Albania, there were pilgrimages that went up because miracles happened at that one church. And people, it was just a massive pilgrimage was going up from all religions, everybody. Every religion, because there was miracles happening up there. People went up, flocked up there. The point of the story, and God has other plans. And there are many stories about what happens, like in World War II and World War II, there were churches that were left standing, or the church was actually it was taken down, or it just destroyed, and yet what is standing is the cross with Christ on it. There are so many different stories that happen, that things happen out there. But this was a very interesting story, everybody, and this is a case where faith it stayed, and the church stayed. No matter what the circumstances were, what they were trying to do to tear it down, It was not to be torn down. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead. I've got a call. I've got to head out. But anyway, I just interesting story. Really interesting story. And it's about faith, people of faith, and I got to tell you, in Albania, from knowing this one person, this one patient, there are people of faith, high faith there. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and close out. I appreciate your time as always. I hope your day is going well. Until the next video. Thanks again for watching this video. Appreciate it. Thanks again.